Hey friends, welcome to the Canyon Pathways podcast, where we invite you to live like a son and lead like a father. Canyon Pathways is a global community of men on the journey from the striving of servanthood to the freedom of sonship as we traverse the canyon that is midlife leadership. My name is Noel Bouché, and I'm the founder and part of the leadership team for this venture, and I'll be your guide throughout this podcast as we explore and discover what it means to live like a son so we can lead like a compassionate father. Glad to be with you. Thanks for joining us on the CP Pod. This community is growing around the world, and we're just thrilled to be a part of it. And glad to be with you on this episode where we're looking at our field note on purpose. Field notes here at Canyon Pathways are short essays where we're exploring a word that we believe embodies a concept that is either relevant or indeed central to this journey into sonship, to living like a son of God and leading out of that like the Father. And purpose is a big one in midlife leadership, which we're focused on really this season in our late 30s through our mid to late 50s, this whole life stage where a lot is happening and a lot is constantly being demanded of us in our leadership, whatever is going on, particularly in our life, however we're set up, wherever we are in our relationships, our families, or our careers, or our ventures, or our teams. It's demanding, and it's a canyon. We're walking through it. And in that canyon that is shadowy, that is continually meeting with either real or imagined threats, uncertainties, volatility, pain, regrets, opportunities, and yet the fears that emerge, the anxieties that come out of having so many people depend on us, whether it is our family, a marriage, kids, clients, customers, congregants, friendships, peoples, communities. It's a canyon. And in that crush, we can start to lose a sense of purpose. And this comes up a lot. We have journeyed through this as a leadership team at Canyon Pathways, and we're walking with a lot of men around the world struggling with that very thing. What is my purpose? What does it all mean? Why am I walking this way and through this landscape? And why am I putting up with it? And, there's three ways, I think, broadly speaking, in terms of categories that this might come up. One is we kind of achieved some of the goals that we've been working towards over the decades. We're 20, 25 years into it. Maybe we've gotten to that position. Maybe we're in that corner office. Maybe we've closed that deal. Maybe we've gotten to that asset base. Maybe we're in that place where, hey, this is what I've been working for. And now I don't know what's next. It's a listlessness. I don't know what my purpose is in this season. Maybe the kids have gone off to college. Maybe I just don't have a vision. And that can be a place that we get stuck. And we can fall into all manner of thoughts and actions that are kind of just scratching and clawing for any sense of purpose that we did have back in the day, when we had kind of a linear sense of this is where I'm going. Maybe we are in a phase where things are going smoothly. It's what I thought I wanted. It's the career path. It's the degree. It's put me in this place. It's the marriage. I'm in the marriage. I'm married to the person I want to be married to, but the passion's not there. Everything revolves around the kids who I love, but at the end of the day, why? And how much longer can I go on with my heart crying out, why? Is this it? Is this all there is? Is this what it's for? Is this the purpose? Or maybe we find ourselves like the younger sibling in Luke 15, where right now we're walking not just through a valley of shadow, but a pigsty. To some degree maybe of our own making, but also just the traumas that we've endured throughout our life, the anguish we felt in our heart, and now it's all coming to a head. Things have crashed around us, and I'm waking up every day in a storm where the cry of my heart is simply, God, why have you forsaken me? And I don't know if I can go on. Why should I go on? What's the purpose in it? What purpose does it serve? Those are the categories that we walk through and that we are walking with brothers through in the Canyon Pathways community right now across the board. And it comes down to purpose. Like, why? Why now and what for? And it can be paralyzing until we pause and reflect on what is this purpose that I'm actually looking for? What is purpose? What might this thing mean? That's what our field note explores, and that's what we're going to step into right now. So here's our field note on purpose, and we'll catch you on the other side with some takeaways that we can implement right away today. Purpose. As the weight of his burdens pressed down and his weariness increased while pondering the turn his life had taken, Frodo Baggins looked to his friend and advisor, Gandalf, and sighed with haggard honesty, "I wish this need not have happened in my time." "So do I," replied the wizard with empathy, "and so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us." Many of us, however, can relate to the hobbit's despair. Perhaps we're caught in a cyclone of unexpected circumstances, with things we thought were solid crumbling around us. Maybe we're stuck in the mire of middle age, listless, visionless, verging on hopeless. We find ourselves wishing at first, fantasizing at last, that we were not where we are, not now. We form an agreement internally that it would be better if we were somewhere other than here. We believe our purpose lies waiting in another place, at another time, perhaps with another person. But alas, our belief is wrong. Purpose, it turns out, can only be experienced right here, right now. The first proof of this is in the essential nature of our person. We are embodied beings. As such, we can only be in one place, one moment at a time. This is no accident. If we accept that a creator designed with intentionality the living vehicles of his image and placed them deliberately in a carbon-based, time-bound realm, then we must accept that where we are in this moment has its roots in a divine intent, a divine purpose. The second proof is in the word itself. Purpose is generally defined as an intention, an aim, a goal, the proper function for which something exists. But digging deeper, we see something more about its meaning. Our English word is derived from the Old French, a word meaning to put forth, and more specifically, to place. To have purpose, then, is to have been put in a place, indeed the only place you could possibly be right now, the place where you are. Purpose, we might say, is less about a plan than it is about a place. And this is our struggle, because frequently in life we don't like the place where we are. It's not comfortable enough, not exciting enough, not rewarding enough, not pleasurable enough. It has too much uncertainty, too much memory, too much pressure, too little action. We are unsatisfied, perhaps even insolent, because there are so many other places we could be. It's in those moments, those seasons of life, that we want to know why. We want to understand some overarching plan that must exist to explain why everything, well, sucks. And it's in those moments we are most vulnerable to losing our sense of purpose, our sense of being placed right here, right now. The corollary, however, is that it's in those moments, in that place, that our true purpose, indeed our very raison d'etre, is unveiled. Tellingly, we can observe in Holy Writ, let alone human history more broadly, countless examples of the protagonists being desperately pressed to cry out, "Why, God?" in the very moment and the very place where their mark on history was made. Whether being tossed into a pit, chained between pillars, hunted by kin, stripped of all possessions, thrown into dungeons, accused of treachery, betrayed by a spouse, stoned by countrymen, deserted by friends, condemned to jail, the natural response to such places is to shriek, "Why have you forsaken me?" The supernatural response is to accept that one who placed us in such a valley of shadow is with us presently, sustaining us faithfully, and is forming us lovingly for just such a time and place as this. For this purpose, I have come to this hour. John 12:27. There's our field note on purpose, and I hope you took away some nice things from that encourage your heart and your mind on what purpose really is and what our relationship to it is and what might be being revealed to us as sons about the Father's purpose for us in this season of life. And three things jumped out at me. The first one, kind of just sat again with this Tolkien quote from the wise, sagely counselor and advisor Gandalf to the disgruntled, beaten down, scared Frodo. And he says, I wish this hadn't happened to me. Why is this happening? What's the purpose? I don't want this to happen. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be suffering. And the wizard responded with empathy, saying, this is what everyone says in such times. And you're not alone. But it's not for us to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. All we have to decide is how to respond to the circumstances, to the place that we are now in. And that acceptance of reality, of what is, versus fretting, kvetching, wishing it away is I think, at the heart of not only living with purpose, but finding purpose in the first place. There's Jim Collins in his book, Good to Great, talks about what he calls ultimately the Stockdale paradox. And it's confronting, essentially, and accepting then the brutal facts of one's situation and taking action from there. Accepting what is, not optimistically or wishfully longing for something else or something that might be, but saying this is what is. And it's an interesting thing because it really tracks what we know as the grief cycle, which goes through stages of denial and anger and ultimately ending with acceptance. That's how the grieving process ends, is with acceptance. Acceptance of what is. Acceptance of what had happened. Acceptance of where I now am. Acceptance of what I'm facing. That it is real, that it is hard, that it is trying, that it might be good for me, that the pruning might be for more fruitfulness, not just punishment or penance, that it is something good and something good will emerge out of it. But I first have to accept what is. And that's something that comes up a lot in the Canyon community as we walk through this, as we retreat together, as we walk as spiritual directors to men around the world. We really have to come to this place where we accept what is. And that's the most difficult thing, to accept, not reject what is true, because ultimately that's what we're called to. What is true? Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. The Son said, first of all, I am, which meant a lot to his audience. I am the one. I am the eternal one. I am the creator. I'm the redeemer. But I am the way, the truth, and the life. Not I am the moral code. I am the escape. I am the fix. I am the quality controls. No, I am the way. I am the truth. I am what is. And what is. And what did this son's life look like? It wasn't easy. Stepped out of immortality into mortal flesh. Had experienced loss, grief, loss of people close to him. Fasted for 40 days in the ancient wilderness. He didn't just fast for 40 days and go to sleep on a nice modern mattress every night with water flowing out of the tap. There was no electricity. There was no running water. It was in the desert every day. This is about as close to death as you can get. And that's just the start of his ministry. Before all things that would come, including enduring death even on a cross and its humiliation. This is the Son. He accepted what is. He said, I am the truth. And that's what we're called to as we walk through a valley of shadow, as we walk through a canyon with its crushing realities at times. I am what's true. Accept what is true accept that this is, then we can start. Now we've got something to work with when we accept what is true. When we accept that midlife is hard. We're not young anymore. We're not growing in the way that we did in our teens and 20s. We're on the other side, and we're experiencing loss in real ways in this stage of life, and we're experiencing griefs that are real. We have to accept this, that this is part of it. There's not something wrong with this picture. As hard as it is, it just is. It's a part of life in this mortal age. When we accept it, we can start responding to it. Instead of avoiding it, instead of sugarcoating it, instead of medicating it, we can accept it and take the next step. And part of that next step might be what the second takeaway for me was, which is this reality that purpose, as much as we put it in this category of goals and of aims and of intentions, what is it in its essence? What is it at its root? It's not a goal to be accomplished. It's not something to be achieved. It's literally, from the Latin root, a place. It is to be placed intentionally. That's purpose. And when we start to view that as true, accept it, we can start to look at this place that we find ourselves in, this situation, this environment, these relationships, these circumstances, and say, this is my purpose, is to be here right now, to be here fully, to be here filled with the Spirit, to be here courageously, to be here with a true confession of what is in my heart and my mind. It's to be able to respond to the circumstances by saying, I've been put in this place to experience living like a son. No matter whether this place is the pigsty that the younger sibling found himself in because of some of his choices and then broader macro circumstances that he didn't have control over, or whether this place is this midlife grind that the elder sibling found himself in, starting to get exhausted with being dutiful and the duties of keeping it all together, white-knuckling it. And out of that exhaustion, anger and an inability to respond with generosity, with freedom, an inability to celebrate and receive. When we begin to engage with purpose as the time and the place that we are in, not something that lies over the horizon, we begin to be fully present. And in that presence, we begin to discover that purpose is less about a plan than it is about a place, the place where we find ourselves, right? And in that acceptance, in that place, the third takeaway for me is we begin to see the sun in our circumstances. And we begin to understand more and more why it says that he was a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief, who walked through canyons throughout his short life in this age on this earth that we can barely comprehend. But when we do and accept that walking through trials, tribulations, a valley of shadow, through a dark canyon is not punishment. It's not exclusion. It's not disappointment. It is the very place that God's purpose is revealed in us. It is the very moment and environment that we are revealed to all of creation as sons of God. How? As Jesus said, by looking unto him and being saved in that moment, in that season, in this very place that we find ourselves right now, looking unto him, look unto the Son, so that we can be revealed to everyone and everything around us as the sons of the living God, out of which we will lead like a father and provide the guidance and the comfort that we're called to those around us who are walking through the same canyons after us. Friends, hope you enjoyed this episode and this field note on purpose, and that it is inspiring you right where you're at, wherever that place is, that you're taking something away and sensing even more fully the Father's presence in your circumstances. Next episode, we're actually going to have a conversation on this topic again of purpose with Luke Smith and Sherman Bradley from our Canyon Pathways community. So check that out. Check out the show notes and links there related to this episode. Also a PDF with discussion questions if you want to use this for personal reflection or in small group meetings with your community. Subscribe so you catch all our episodes as we develop a language of sonship through this podcast. Thanks to the team at Maroon Harpoon for producing this episode and all our episodes, and to our donors who make this venture possible. And as always, thank you for being a part of the Canyon Pathways community as we together live like sons and lead like fathers.